All right. So we are at the Rain Incubator once again, here to bring some information to you guys about blockchain, crypto, the whole nine to help demystify your brains. At this point, we're just still going to be honest with you guys. We don't have a name.
You got some good ideas, though.
We got some good ideas. We were writing some stuff down, but we thought you guys would enjoy the overall process. So. But with that being said, we kind of want to get into some things today. I think the last time, we were able to talk about why people might want to start looking into some of this stuff.
Right.
More of a high level explanation.
Right.
You gave a pretty interesting story again, just talking about how it was used over in Africa.
Yeah.
How money is on people's phones already.
Right.
How the technology is already in place.
Right.
We talked about ATMs, how they're popping up a little bit everywhere.
Right.
But now, maybe we want to get a little bit into how actually you can make money off of it.
Okay.
Because we don't want to make it scary for people at the end of the day, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you yeah, we definitely don't want to make it scary. We want to make it easy for people to understand that they can make money off it. And yeah, I guess I can go into a couple things.
Yeah.
And we can, discuss that. Again, I'm Bilori, and I'm glad to be back.
I'm Kelvin.
Kelvin
I did that.
in the house.
Sorry about that.
So I guess when making money from cryptocurrency, and I think in most instances when you run into people, I like to talk about cryptocurrency a lot for obvious reasons. I'm really excited because there's a lot of potential to make money and change your life.
Right.
None of us want to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of our lives. We want to set ourselves up. So
Well, we can't speak for everybody, but
we want to set ourselves up so we can do what we want when we want, and have a
Absolutely.
level of freedom that being in the United States is supposed to offer us.
For sure.
Right? So, and I think with the current state of the financial system, and the fact that the United States is, I think, $27 trillion in debt at this point, and they're spending more money, and they're not necessarily giving it to us.
I have a lot of. Yeah, I agree. We just cleared. I mean, just to give an idea, $27 trillion in debt, and we're forgiving student loans. Not to say that, because I'm a student, that'd be great if I got my student loan clear too. But
Right.
Where is this money coming from?
Right.
I guess is the real question.
Yeah, I think the money is coming from us, so to speak. They're taking the money from us, and I really think that they're giving it to the corporations, and the corporations are buying everything. So I think that's why making money in crypto is important. Other ways to make money other than your 9 to 5, which is only going to sustain you to a certain point, right?
For sure.
As the number of jobs obviously decrease from what we've seen in the last year. And a lot of people would say, okay, so if I just buy cryptocurrency and hold it, how am I going to make money? Obviously, we're talking about a paradigm shift, that's kind of
There's a name, yeah.
close.
Name idea.
That's kind of where we're heading, a paradigm shift, right? So the financial system's changing. Cryptocurrency is the future. It's not going away. Obviously, we're going to bring receipts so you guys understand what we're talking about. We're not just talking out the side of our neck and making this stuff up. Done a lot of research, and obviously we're here to share it with you. So, for example, one way to make money with cryptocurrency is mining, and I think Bitcoin has kind of solidified the mining aspect because for you to, so basically the mining is basically you have the blockchain, which is all the different servers, quote unquote, or nodes,
Right.
that are basically exchanging information, right? And that information is basically solving a problem. So like you're solving an equation, right?
Okay.
And the mining, of course, they have computers that are running these calculations. So if you think of millions of dollars in the blockchain being transacted, Bitcoin, that's going to take a lot of power. So, and the mining basically consists of your servers trying to solve these equations to solidify the transaction occurring. And once you solve it, bam, the transaction occurs. But I think what people have come to realize is that since Bitcoin, the bigger Bitcoin gets, the more mining it takes. And of course, on the flip side, the more energy it consumes.
And so that's crazy, because that's where you start to see, and it happens all the time, but where you see the digital world start to really affect in the real world. And what that does is that makes people less apt to actually look at that one to be so green initiatives and
Right.
whatnot, that we've talked about that
Right.
before.
Right.
That could be a bottleneck for blockchain in the future, because really, and I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you were saying something about how they're getting ready to make blockchain more usable and scalable and whatnot too.
Right.
But it started off, I mean, again, we don't know who even created it.
Right.
So it's kind of hard, right? So it's kind of like,
we don't know. Yeah.
I always thought that you could, at least with that one in particular, Bitcoin in particular, it might fall off for that reason, just because it's hard to build something off of something that no one knows how or where or who created it.
Right.
But you can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
I think you have a good point. I think that a lot of people may not go as deep into it as, let's say, a person has a greater interest in crypto and how it works, maybe because they don't know. They see the money, and they hear about the money, and they hear about the Bitcoin, then they hear about the negatives. But money, a lot of times, trumps the negatives. You know, people will be like,
Yes.
well, yeah, if I can make money, I don't care. Who cares? The environment collapses, you know.
I still got money though, bro. You know
I have a
what I'm saying?
6.2 liter V8. And I'm burning gas every day. I'm doing my best to damage the environment. But
That's so true.
but I think at the same time, people want to get paid, and this is a way to get paid currently. But I think moving forward, as the green agenda gets pushed,
Right.
Bitcoin will suffer. But I don't think they'll suffer now. This is just my opinion, of course, because of the amount of money that's already invested in it.
Right.
It's going to make it hard for it to go away. I think the way it would go away would be if it's backed by nefarious agents that come to light, and people go, oh, then they're really going to back off.
Sure.
But I was going to also just kind of finish my point in terms of how to make money.
Sure.
So when you're doing the mining, let's say you have a couple rigs set up in your big garage, they're doing the mining, they're solving the equations. If you are the one that solves the equation, they send you coins, so you make money that way. So,
Sure,
but it costs a lot of money to have the rigs. It burns a lot of energy.
Yeah.
People don't want to get behind it. But those new coins are created as a reward. So, what are you gonna do?
That's wild, man.
Just set up a rig in your garage, invest all your money, and hopefully Bitcoin continues to go up and not down.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the only thing, time's only going to tell on that at the end of the day.
Yeah, and there's other ways to have that same agreement done. So obviously, blockchain technology mining is kind of the original way of doing it, but there's also proof of stake, which is another protocol that's out there. So
Sure.
Ethereum started with proof of work, which the mining is. You're proving that you're doing the work to solve the equation. Proof of stake, basically, since Ethereum has these super high gas fees, which is the cost of solving those equations, that those costs are put on the individual who's on the blockchain trying to solve the problem. Maybe they have a smart contracts for their business that
Right.
they're trying to apply into the blockchain. It's going to cost them a whole lot of money to do it. So.
Right.
Ethereum saw that, so now they're moving to proof of stake, which is basically you have a stake in the agreement. You're right, that you're solving the problem. The way you get to solve the problem is how much you stake, how much of your cryptocurrency you stake, right? And the more you stake, the more of a say you have, right? So proof of stake seems to be a better process for Ethereum, but it's not the best.
Right. Oh, these are all concepts that they're trying out right now.
Right.
It sounds like, yeah.
Right.
and we're still in like the early phases of it. So
Right.
that's actually very interesting.
Right.
So that's almost very similar to like how just like the stock market will work in a sense, wouldn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, well, I guess I don't understand the stock market quite as well. But you're basically putting your money up, hoping that the value goes up, which is one of the ways that you can actually make money in crypto too.
Right.
So there are better technologies out there that where the consensus or the agreements are built into the platform. For example, I always bring up XRP because it's my favorite.
I missed the
and
XRP.
XLM and others that are similar to it that solve specific problems that obviously we'll get into it at another point in time. But they use a consensus protocol where they have what's called interledger protocol. Like the protocol is built into the interledger where you don't have to do the mining. You don't have to stake your crypto. It's already built in. So if you write a smart contract, it's going to interoperate within the system without you having to either put your money or to put your crypto in there or to do the work. So it's cheaper. The settlement time's a lot faster, especially if you're doing payments. You're talking seconds versus days. There's no issues there. But they don't get the limelight. I don't think because they weren't the first ones to the party.
Usually.
So yeah. So that's one of the first ways people were able to make money or are able to make money in cryptocurrency is, of course, mining.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like from there, I mean, if we're talking about at least the XRP route that you're talking about,
Right.
They're just finding different ways to try to optimize the process of actually making money off of this to make it less of I have to trust this person that I'm doing stuff with,
Right.
and making it a trustless system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that make cryptocurrency so valuable and great for the next paradigm we're going into, the next financial paradigm we're going to, that may eliminate a lot of the conflicts in the world, because a lot of those conflicts are based on resources and money, and if you can take away the trust, where you have to trust somebody. If I send you money, am I going to get it back?
Oh, for sure.
Am I going to be able to sanction you because I don't like your country and your political deal with what you stand for?
That's a whole nother podcast. That's like, but no, I agree 100%. I mean, even something as simple as like Cash App sending you the money to the wrong person.
That's happened to me before.
Too many times, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can get your money back and whatnot too, but I mean, it's like, even with that, they're before you had your wallet, and now you have crypto domains, right? And now it's an easier, so your wallet had like this crazy, but now it could just be as easy as, oh, I'm gonna send my money to Bilori.crypto, and he's gonna take it from there.
Right. Yeah, that's an exciting thing right now,
That innovation, man.
Right. It just makes things a lot easier and smoother, and makes the financial system. They like to. I think the term they use is level the playing field.
Right.
So it levels the playing field. And cryptocurrency is going to do that. It's going to allow everybody to participate, and there'll be new consumers, and it's not necessarily going to be us. We're the old consumers, I think, in the United States. And I think it's the globe where we've, not to get off track a little bit, but we've had the privilege of having the world reserve currency. And because we have the world reserve currency, we benefit because everyone has to transfer their money to dollars to purchase products, which benefits us because there's such a great supply of money and resources available to us because of that. And I think it's we've come to a point where the rest of the world has had enough, and we're no longer going to be the world reserve currency. And I think cryptocurrency is going to enable us to go from us being the world reserve currency and wanting to control everything to having a trustless society without us going to war. We're having World War III. But we'll see. we'll see if that
wanna-
happens smoothly or not.
To expand on your topic, I was looking at, I think I was at YouTube, like it was like Web3 or something like that, and the guy was on it talking. Next episode, I'll get his information. We can post it because he gives good information about stuff too.
Right.
But it seemed he was saying, to add to your point, that the revolution of Web3, blockchain, cryptocurrency, all that stuff is, first of all, it's happening now, right? This is the ground level right now.
Right.
But he said the effects probably won't be felt here until after everybody has switched over. Because Americans, we have this geocentric way of us thinking that we're the center of everything. And it's just bad. I mean, but like, you know, what do you
first.
say? Yeah, but what do you say? I mean, everyone looks here for this, the land of opportunity.
Yeah, that's
it's
good.
you know, so I mean, like to an extent, I mean, it makes sense.
Right.
But the fact that other countries are looking at rebuilding their whole economy structure, and we talked about that in the last one, using cryptocurrency. It's like you almost can't afford not to at least diversify and get into, if you're going to have fiat currency, you should use some of that fiat currency to purchase some crypto.
Right.
It's just the smart thing to do.
Right. I totally agree. I think especially as Americans, that I think the fact that the economy is going to change. I mean, the financial system is going to change. It's going to affect us in more of a negative way if we're not properly positioned.
Right.
So if you're just an average, consumer working a 9 to 5, expecting your money to come from your job, as the cost of living goes up, the wages don't go up. So that should tell you right there that if there's a change in the financial system and we have less access to resources and money, then you're going to be in more of a negative position financially. So it's best to diversify, like you just said, cryptocurrency, stocks, like you mentioned earlier, gold, silver, things of that nature.
Gold and silver is huge right now.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right. And to you were talking about trading, like trading stocks.
Right.
That's the other way to make money in cryptocurrency is trading. So you can leverage your position with a cryptocurrency whose value is higher than the other ones. You buy the crypto when the price is low. You sell it when it's high. Right. The key to that is obviously understanding what it is you're buying and why.
Right.
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 And and in most instances, you want to probably invest in something that has some utility and solves a problem, or if you want to jump in and jump out and make quick money, you can ride the hype train. Because you're familiar with like Dogecoin, right?
Shiba
Inu, right?
Yeah.
So these coins you can jump in.
Well, you made a good point about Doge earlier. That was kind of like you said. Now it's becoming a little bit more utilitarian because even though it started off as a joke,
Right.
Right.
But
yeah, no, good point.
Right,
Very good
and
point.
that's the thing. I mean, if it was actually built as a joke, but it was built on a solid foundation, and one of the things about crypto is interoperability and being able to work with other parts of the technology to create a business or whatever or a payment platform to be able to write smart contracts or do supply chain management. I mean, there's so many avenues that you can go into that you're basically talking about a whole new paradigm and way of thinking about how you can make money or transact with someone else across the world or create a business that's going to solve a real world problem that cryptocurrency can handle, because you're not going to have the same regulations that deal with if you're trying to build a business in this paradigm. Obviously, things have to change. We have to get some regulatory clarity.
Right.
But that stuff hopefully is right around the corner. So like I had mentioned, invest in something that has fundamentals, that solves a problem, or ride the hype train, or because it's hyper volatile. Right. The volatility is crazy, and there are platforms that we'll go into that help you learn what and how to purchase crypto and how to maximize your return on investment if you are trading.
Sure.
And they're out there. Some are free. There's a lot of free information. We're obviously going to share that information. And then there's also platforms that will train you that we're also aware of. So when you're ready, just let us know. We'll lead you in the right direction.
That's dope,
We'll bring receipts.
Yeah, that's look. Receipts are. We said it already earlier. Receipts are everything.
Right.
It's everything. I agree. So you named a couple of them, and actually you talked about. You said the word interoperability. I think that's a huge key word. Can you expand on that just a little bit?
Right.
About what you mean?
So, for example, if you're building, let's say you're writing a smart contract, and all a smart contract is, it's an agreement for like two entities to perform a specific action, operation, or transaction.
It's like a contract.
Basically, it is. It's a contract, but it's self-executable.
Yeah.
And I think the word is immutable, where it can't be changed, right? So both parties agree to this. Once they agree, then whatever the action is, whether it's a transaction based on, let's say you have a product, I need the product, I want to purchase the product, and maybe I'm going to buy more, and maybe once I buy the product, there's going to some action that takes place with the product and my business, perhaps, that takes place. So we agree to that. It's self-executable. Once the smart contract's written, it's on the blockchain.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see everything. I'll be able to see everything. Other people will, and then it just self-executes. So, and it's interoperable because let's say somebody else wants to maybe build on our smart contract. Maybe they have something that can make that process smoother. And if we both agree and the smart contract agrees, you can actually build on that one where it will archive the original contract and then add a third contract on top of it.
So you got a clause, literally.
Yeah.
That's man. So, that's really cool. I'm thinking about it now because that's another way to make money through it, right? Is actually to be a developer of the technology.
Yeah, that's probably a subject I wasn't even going to touch on, but it's 100%.
I saw somewhere you said smart contracts. I'm looking at it. They start at $7,000.
Whoa.
Or 7 to 10 grand, right? Is what the thing that I was seeing.
Right.
If you become solidified in that realm, and all it is you understanding how to take a sentence and turn it into code, from what it sounds like. Right.
Okay.
So I need small software. I have a degree in software.
Right.
The thing that they talk about a lot before you actually go to code is pseudocode. And pseudocode, all it is like, what's the workflow? Like, what's the if we're talking about a movie, it's storyboarding for it, like the parts on it. So I say a sentence is like, well, I need to be able to send money to, or I need to be able to send a file over to Bilori via text message. Okay, there's your sentence, and then on top of that, now you're just writing the code for that. But really, it comes from the logic. So it's the programming logic that comes from. Right. But these contracts can go from 10 to 100 grand because everybody is wanting to get these things because they're starting to see the writing on the wall. So that's
I see.
Even more of a reason for people to be like, wow, like it's not a joke.
Right.
Like people are investing in this stuff and they're investing their fiat currency into it and cryptocurrency into it.
Yeah.
So there's another way for you. I'm just saying it's crazy. It's lucrative,
awesome.
man.
I mean, that's you having the IT background. I mean, is perfect. Because I think we can all benefit from that. Because ideally, you would be paying someone to write a smart contract for you. You say, but if with IT background, now you can say, hey, I can write the smart contract myself.
I don't like to program. I realized that after I got out. I was like, not my thing.
Is it just a lot of time just on the computer, just writing? I don't know how to code, so I'm not really sure.
It is, man. It's like you got to have a certain mind for it, certain aptitude. You have to really, in my opinion, this goes with anything, right? Like you have to love something that you do. And
Right.
I can't say I sit here and love programming.
Right.
But I do enjoy storyboarding for stuff like that,
Yeah.
talking about the concepts,
Right.
developing concepts.
Yeah, so more on the creative side versus, if you can, have somebody else write the code. Here's my idea. I already have set up the concept. I know what the end in mind is.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do that part of the
Absolutely.
labor.
Yes.
So it's basically you're
That's
just
what Steve Jobs did. Steve Jobs, one of the
Yeah,
craziest minds.
yeah.
He developed. He was able to take what Steve Wozniak did, right? Well, actually, really, what happened was Steve Wozniak took what Steve Jobs did, and then he was able to code it because he had that mind.
Right.
But Steve Jobs' mind was, I need to figure out a way to make this accessible, right? And that's honestly, we're talking about interoperability.
Right.
That's the reason why tech is so cool now and why it's so much more. He really pushed that.
Yeah.
He pushed that shit to the
Yeah.
next stage.
Yeah.
Everyone's thinking of it from this is just a computer guy standpoint. It's like, no, my grandma needs to be able to open up pictures if I'm going to send them to her, right, on Google Drive.
Right.
Like,
Right.
let's make that easy for her.
Right.
Right.
So it's like the next. So it's the platform or the foundation that the obviously the internet was built on. They built on top of that the
Right.
coding and then the interoperability, and now it enables crypto to come in and be Web3.
Yes.
The interoperability just expands even further now
Yes.
to connect even more. Even us, if we at some point want to be connected, maybe with a chip in our
Bro.
head or something.
I know when my grandma and my mom or somebody once they get on it, if they're to get on it, then that's how you know. And I'm not trying to shoot them down or anything, but they ask me for certain stuff when it comes to tech, and then some people look at you when we talk about crypto, and just with these wide eyes and like, well, whatever. But
Right.
if they're on it, then I know that this is a thing.
Right. Yeah,
It's like, okay, this is how it's really going.
Yeah, they see it from their perspective now, but and you're kind of pulling them along. Say, hey, there's further you can go. Just like with me, there's further I can go, and more information. There's obviously more for us to grow, and that's crazy because that's interoperable too. Because now we're interoperable. We're becoming more interoperable as more information becomes available to us. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I get excited about the silliness of crypto, and the innovations, and it's you can see the writing on the wall once you do a deep dive. You can see what's coming,
Yes.
and just want to be positioned to take advantage of it. And with that, I'd like to segue to, because there's 5 basically ways to make crypto. Obviously, there's more than 5.
Right.
But 5 kind of main ways. So first one was mining, talked about that, trading. Third one, staking. So staking is something that's even more exciting because there's because you stake, you basically, let's say I purchase cryptocurrency. Let's say this cryptocurrency is for payments, kind of like Bitcoin. It's for payments, or maybe it's for cross-border payments. So maybe it's for a consumer. I want to pay somebody, let's say in Bangladesh, for their products, right? I have dollars. They have whatever the Bangladesh currency is. I want to transact with them. The old way of transacting digitally, via computer. Maybe you're going on their website and you're sending them payment through your credit card provider or your bank. And so that money needs to go to an intermediary, and the intermediary is basically sending your money through your banking system to the other bank, right? So once your money goes there, they take a cut. The intermediary takes a cut. Actually, first, your bank takes a cut. The intermediary takes a cut. When the payment gets there, they take a cut from the other person, right?
Right.
So and then in certain instances, your payment may not go through. There's a failure rate. I think it's like 15% failure rate for cross-border payments.
And people still get paid, but you don't.
Yeah, or something happens and on either end, and they can say, hey, your money didn't get through. Or if you're sending money to somebody didn't get through, sometimes that happens also.
It gets lost. You
Yeah.
can't even track it.
Right, or even when governments are paying other governments money, money gets lost, and they call them nostro, vostro accounts, which nostro would be my account, your account. And so there's a lot of money locked up in nostro, vostro accounts, which slows down the fluidity of money. I mean, you need to have the circulation of money, because the more money circulates, the more money is being able to utilize, and the resources get distributed properly. But the more money gets locked up in nostro vostro accounts, the harder it is for it to get circulated, right?
Wow.
So with that in mind, back to my point, you're staking. You're saying, okay, well, I purchased this cryptocurrency, and I want to make money off it. How can I make money off it? So there are ways you can, just like you're circulating the currency, you're circulating the cryptocurrency into the blockchain and let it do its job. So my cryptocurrency is for cross-border payments. I want to circulate it into the blockchain system so it can be utilized, because the more people that are using the system, the more crypto needs to be available. There is limited supply, which in turn brings the value of the cryptocurrency up the more it's utilized.
Yes.
So if it's being utilized by the more consumers who use it, the more valuable it is. The more institutions use it, the more valuable it is. So by staking it, I can get returns. Basically, I can collect interest by staking it into the blockchain. So they'll pay me for my cryptocurrency. Cryptos, let's say like XRP, XLM, you can stake them, and then you will gain interest. So that's another way. So, and basically, individuals are just contributing their security into the blockchain to get a return on investments. And the more you stake, the higher the returns would be, right? Right. So, and when you stake, you're it's kind of like mining, or what was the other term I used? I apologize. Trading, mining or trading. So the more you stake, the more you're likely to get chosen, so to speak, to receive the rewards. Okay. And when you stake, you don't use as much energy as Bitcoin, because there's no proof of work as well. So it makes a difference.
I think I heard. So when you're gaining interest, it's interest in whatever crypto that you're.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Or you can get paid in other cryptos. You can get paid in other cryptocurrencies, and then maybe build your portfolio. So now, let's say if you're staking XLM, which is also for cross-border payments, but you want to get paid in Algorand, or maybe you want to get paid in other cryptocurrency that solves a different problem. Like maybe it's a supply chain crypto, and you want to have more of those, and maybe you want to stake those into a supply chain blockchain where you collect interest on those. So you have many ways that you can start making money with the more diversified cryptocurrencies you have. So it gets pretty crazy, even just thinking about it and talking about it, I get even more excited, because I'm like, hey, if I have this crypto and this crypto, I can stake that one, get this other one, and then stake that one and make more money here,
Yeah, man.
And as the blockchains become more active, if you're first in line, guess what? You get to stake more, because you have crypto other people don't know about that they can stake it. So who's making the money? The people that are the early adopters. So that's why it's important to position yourself early, because you'll be able to be first in line when it comes to staking your cryptocurrency.
That's wild.
So that's more money.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And then I guess the other thing too is if you get those, I'm still trying to wrap my head around. I'm gonna do some more research for the next time too, about because it is also having crypto, right? Like, means that you can do certain things that when Web3 really starts to kick in, you're gonna have a bigger footprint or draw, or I'm not entirely sure what it is exactly. It sounds like, but if you have different cryptos, it's like your money is actually doing something for you,
Right,
right?
right.
Like the dollar, the most magical thing a dollar can do is you put it in a vending machine and it gives you a soda back or some shit like that, right? But the
Yeah,
but
that's pretty magical. Think about it.
but gold, we took gold and silver are two of the highest conductors of electricity. Hence, they're usable even just outside of them just being pretty and
Right.
cool to look at,
Right.
and heavy and whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So there's a usage.
Right.
And I feel like we're getting back to that with cryptos because like now, and again, I'm gonna forgive my ignorance. I'll do better for the next episode to look this up. But what is it that you can actually do online to create more of a presence for yourself or something like that with you actually having and owning crypto at that point?
What can you do? Well, you can stake it, which basically means you're basically contributing to supply chains and how the cryptocurrency is circulated. Just like if you were a bank, basically a bank takes, let's say, Joe Schmo deposits $1,000 in the bank. The bank takes $1,000 and they lend it to whoever, maybe $200 to this entity, that entity, this, or they take 500 of it invested in mortgage-backed securities or something, right? And then they're not paying you interest on your money. They're basically taking your money and using it to make them money. So basically, you're kicking the bank out of the picture and saying, hey, I'm going to take my assets, which are basically not fiat currency, but they're crypto, that obviously has a specific use case and solves a problem. Now, and we're pretty early in the process, so, but taking that cryptocurrency and using it like on a bank, and I'm loaning it out to the system, and the system is paying me back. And I'm helping the system operate by loaning out this crypto, because when they sell the cryptocurrency, they have to get the public's okay that it actually has value. So we are the ones that determine what the value is because we trust it to be worth a specific amount of money, just like the dollar. The dollar, which is backed by zero, nada, zip, zilch. We give it its credence by saying, hey, the dollar will buy this much of a product, right? It's worth this much. And we do that, I think, by how our system works, how we're always equating wealth with objects, right? And since we equate wealth with these objects, we give the dollar its validity, right? Cryptocurrency does the same thing. And I think at some point we can go into liquidity, which it's all about liquidity, right?
I really want to jump into, yeah, I would, yeah.
And the liquidity is what the entities or the people in power have with the dollar, because the banks are printing money and then they're circulating the money, and because they circulate the money, they're creating commerce and access to resources. Cryptocurrency is going to negate the need for the banks, because you won't have to go get a loan from a bank to either purchase something or create a product, right? Because you have to get the resources to create the product. So you go to the bank, say, I want to start a business because I want to do this. Maybe I want to mine for gold, or I want to, build a ship or whatever. So the bank says, okay, here, give me the collateral, blah, 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 blah. Now, with cryptocurrency, you're not going to need the bank. You can become your own bank, and that's why you have a self-domain name. So if you need to get paid, they send you the money directly, and you send the money directly to the other person using the intermediary, regardless of where you're sending it. If you're sending it domestically or abroad.
To add to the liquidity, maybe you should go, because you were telling me about the story.
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot, but
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty
Broke.
Yeah, but you weren't.
No.
But you weren't.
No, I wasn't broke. So, it was one of those things where, your bank account, basically, you're about as wealthy as your bank account. It's at some point it seems, right? Obviously, real wealth is not determined by the amount of money you have. I think it's determined by the amount of resources you have access to in your possession. You know, like land or gold or silver or something tangible, or loving
Your
family.
mindset. Yeah, I was gonna say your mindset, but yeah, you know, okay, okay.
Yeah, your mindset too.
Man determines his wealth, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
But so week and a half ago, you know, my bank account was on E. I won't lie. You know, I invest a lot of money in cryptocurrency, so I don't have a lot of fiat, but I have a lot of money invested, right? And because I don't have a lot of fiat, you know, you can't really navigate through our society without cash, you know, to buy resources. So I went to
Or credit.
yeah. That too.
That might be the same thing at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. So I went to breakfast with my brother, you know, and, you know, I was like, I got money, I'm good. So, you know, you order whatever you want, and you're like, yeah, I'll get it. You know, brother's name is Ngoma. He's a pretty smart dude, too. He knows a lot about crypto and government, and take a deep dive. Maybe we'll have him on the show one day.
That'd be
He'd
awesome.
be a very interesting guy to talk to. So we have breakfast, and I'm like, hey, okay, bill comes. I go to pay the bill. My card. I was using a credit card. I like to use my credit card for payments, and I pay my credit card back. Helps my credit go up, all that good stuff. So I gave her my credit card. Nope. They're like, your credit card's at its limit. I'm like, damn, I need to pay my credit card off. And then I gave her my debit card, and she's like, that's not working either. And I was like, whoa, wow, what's going on? Okay, I didn't check my account. Apparently, there's no money in it. and I'm like, damn. I was like, this sucks. And then, you know, because that's, you know, it's never a good feeling when they tell you can't buy it, you know. And so my brother pays for lunch. I go get my car to go home. I realize I'm on E. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm on E. I was like, I don't have a credit card. I don't have my debit card. Well, I do, but there's no money there. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And so I have a check, right? I got a check from work previous day. I go to the bank's closed. It's a Sunday. I go to Fred Meyer's to cash it. They're like, nope, you can't cash the check. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm pretty much on E. So what am I going to do? So I was like, I'm just going to drive home. You know, I'm in Puyallup, Tacoma. It's like 12 miles. So I'm driving home. You know, and I'm like, man, I hope I don't get stuck on the freeway, you know, because then I have to go get gas. But if I have to go get gas, I don't have any money, so I'm not going to get any. I have to call somebody, which, you know, is the worst. Last thing you want to do is call someone, hey, I ran out of gas. Can you come bring me a gas can with some gas in it? Or you go to the store, someone gives you a ride, you got to be like, hey, can I get $5? I'll come back and I'll pay you back maybe in a couple of days because I don't have the money now.
Right.
So, I'm in Tacoma, like downtown area, and then something hits me, and I'm like, you know, I've been trading online, right? And to trade online, you have to transfer fiat to Bitcoin, and then you fund your account using Bitcoin, right? And I was like, well, I got Bitcoin. Why don't I just cash out and get my Bitcoin? So I go on my Cash App, which you can buy Bitcoin on, and I'm like, oh, there's the money right there. It's in my Bitcoin. So what I do is I cash out the Bitcoin, which apparently, you know, had went down. I think it had went down a little, so the balance had went down. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever, it's Bitcoin. So I cash out. I only take $100 out. Bam, pay for the gas, and I'm like, and then, you know, epiphany. I'm like, that's it right there. It's that's the digital currency
Yes.
override for the fiat. You know, so you don't necessarily have to have fiat. You can always have crypto.
Yeah.
Which is, and if by putting it in the crypto account, obviously with the volatility, there'll be points where it goes up, there'll be points when it go down, but the money's still there.
Yeah.
Right? Unless it goes to zero, of course. But yeah, but it was pretty cool to actually realize, oh wait, I have money. I don't have fiat, but I have crypto. I can just transfer it to crypto to fiat instantaneously, and then I can just pay the old-fashioned way.
That's almost the drawback of having physical banks when you think about it, because it creates, the physical barrier creates a mental barrier at that point. So you had to work through in your head. You had to
That's
work
so
through that
true.
scenario,
Right.
to even come to the idea that you could even do this. When if it had already been a thing,
Right.
which it is now in other places, it was that simple.
Right.
And I think what people think of when you're investing or it's your money's tied up in cryptocurrency. And it's like, that just goes to prove, first of all, if Bitcoin was on the up, you would have had more money to play with. So
Right.
it's on the down this
Right.
time, and it's trending downwards right now anyways.
Right.
But it's going to shoot back up at some point. But the ability, it's just the ability to be able to do something like that without actually having to go to a physical location.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy to me because the whole time I'm sweating, going like, okay, I'll just park my car and I'll go cash my check tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then I was like, how am I going to get to work? I don't want to. I had some money at home that I could have grabbed, got
Sure.
gas, but yeah, it was pretty cool, and just makes it even more exciting. So when there's regulatory clarity,
Yeah.
and the value of the cryptocurrency, I don't think it'll go up in a straight line, but I think it'll continually go up because there's always higher highs and then higher lows and another higher high and then a higher low. It'll be easy. I think the more people understand that, hey, I can put my money, maybe instead of just putting it in the bank, maybe I can put it on Cash App, and there are other apps too that are actually, pay you for staking your crypto.
Yeah.
So now you're getting paid by having cryptocurrency in crypto, and then you can also always transfer it to fiat. The weird thing is, why would you transfer? A lot of people are like, and this is moving on to the fourth way to make money.
Sure.
Why would you transfer crypto to an asset that's depreciating?
Huh.
Why would you, it's like, okay, so I'm going to, not to say that Bitcoin's, it's depreciating now, but the dollar, the fiat currency is consistently depreciating, and most people who are buying currency are also going like, well, when it hits this, I'm going to cash out into fiat currency. It's crazy when you think about it conceptually, because now you've made this much money, now you're cashing out to something that's going to lose money and could start losing money consistently as you own it. So that's why I think staking is such a great way for people to make money, because they can take that same money that they're thinking of cashing out, just stake it.
Yeah.
And then pay yourself back with the interest that you're getting,
Yeah.
versus cashing out your crypto and now it's gone. And you're basically starting all over, unless you're cashing out the crypto with the fiat, and you're buying another crypto.
That's good strategy.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the fourth one I was going to move on to is hodling, which is like trading.
Hodling?
Hodling. So basically, you're the goal, of course, you want to buy a coin at a certain value, hold it long term as it appreciates. You want to not sell it.
I got it.
So, for example, we're in the speculative phase of cryptocurrency. There's no regulatory clarity. There's no, there are entities out there who are using cryptocurrency right now, I think, for payments. Most of them are institutions and, and companies, like you had mentioned, there's some companies out there that are taking crypto as payment. But you want to make sure you're picking good projects that have fundamentals, use case, solve a problem that are essential, and you want to use them as a long-term hedge, right? So it's like investing in stocks. Like if you're an early investor in like Amazon or something,
Right.
or Microsoft, if you kept your stock for 10 years, you had a decent amount, you're pretty much set. And
Yes.
it took you 10 years versus working 40 for a retirement that's only going to pay you, 40% of your salary? So what's a better strategy? Of course, I'm not saying get rid of your 401k, just put more in your 401k. So you do have not only that, you have the 401k, you got the crypto. The crypto solves a problem, has a use case. It has the fundamentals. It has the backing of specific companies, maybe governments, organizations like the IMF, World Health Organization, the Fed, the Bank of International Settlements, and I think we'll go into further detail about those entities later, so people understand how important they are when it comes to finance, global finance, not just finance here in America, but global finance, which what this is all about is a global financial system. Reset,
Revelations.
Right. So hodling is huge. I'm all about hodling. I'm a hodler because I've done the deep dive. I mean, I'm not going to say that I know exactly what's going to happen, but I have a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
But I'm also hedging my bets that I'm making a decision based on fundamentals and research, and I'm not just giving someone else my money and say, "Hey, make me rich." You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
And hope that they're not skimming off the top.
Right.
Or they're using my money to make themselves rich and not me, and eventually they won't let me take my money out if I want to take it out and maybe invest in another cryptocurrency. That leads to another thing. There are ways you can actually hodl your cryptocurrency with specific entities that will actually pay you, so you can hodl and stake it at the same time. So it's
They'll pay you dividends?
pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah. So I think you had mentioned one BlockFi before, where you can
Yes, yes.
you can put your crypto in there, and they give you like a card, and they pay you rewards for using the card. You use the card maybe in fiat, and they're paying you in crypto. So I mean, there's other aspects too, where you can own specific crypto, and then you can take loans out on it. So there's a company called Trustline that enables you to do that too. So hodling, and I think that I'm kind of rambling a little bit here, but
this is all good information, man. That's dope. Because I heard about that too. You can build a loan off
Right.
of crypto, and you build crypto credit. That's craziness.
right, and that's like kind of the fifth one, which is rewards apps. So there are apps, and there's like platforms, and there's companies that are going to pay you rewards for owning the crypto and maybe staking it with them. So they'll pay you rewards. So there's 5 ways: 1, mining, trading, staking, hodling, rewards. It's pretty exciting.
What is it? Hodling. I spelled it wrong.
Hodling.
H-O-T.
Yeah.
H-O-D.
Or you could just, or holding.
That's what it looks like. I was gonna say. I was
Hoarding.
like, hoarding.
It's
Keeping.
same thing,
Just don't sell that shit.
Everything looks dirty. It looks real dirty, but it's mine.
That's awesome.
Right. So it's pretty exciting, man. I mean, the more I learn about it, the more excited I get, and the crazier I sound.
Yeah. I don't think we sound that crazy, man.
Right.
I think it's, the more research I got, because like I said, again, I wasn't, I've heard of it. I hadn't really been into it. Most people, I really think, don't get into it because they just don't want to be bothered by something else,
Right.
something new,
Right.
which I can understand too. Doing everything that I do sometimes I was like, I just, and it's not even my own camera, but I just started borrowing a camera and using a camera, taking pictures and stuff.
Right.
But for the longest time, I was like, I don't want to do no damn camera work because I've got all this other stuff going on already.
Yeah.
I want to,
yeah,
have
totally.
someone else do that. But,
Right.
there's some things that you just can't push by the wayside, and they require a little bit more immediate attention.
For sure.
And I think creating that need, there's just so many examples between this episode, the last episode we did, of the writing just being on the wall, that we just can't really sit back and just kind of like let other entities dictate how we're going to be doing stuff in the future.
Right.
Because right now, if we were to all say, let's switch over now, the government would be screwed, right? The economy would be all topsy-turvy. But at the end of the day, the people that are, or the places and the entities that are in power right now, and not to get too much into dark conspiracy theories,
do it.
but we can really go there, but I
Right.
prefer not to sometimes.
Right.
But everything would crumble, and of course they don't want that to happen because they want to remain in power at
Right.
this point.
Right.
So they poke fun. They'll hype up Dogecoin, and they'll tell you that Bitcoin is depreciating, and they'll tell you, but when you really think about it, even the ones that we're talking about, we're saying, hey, it's more utilitarian than just, where's my money? I need it now. There's a whole infrastructure behind it that's being set up, and it's being set up now, and it's being set up in front of our eyes, but also behind our backs.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think it's been set up. It's been being set up for a while, right? A lot of people believe that cryptocurrency was the result of, let's say, the economic crash in 2009 since they, like the powers that be, the IMF, the World Economic Forum, all those people,
which they're accelerating this thing too, by the way. Go ahead.
The Fed.
Yes.
They're like, how can we get rich? We can get even richer. We're going to kick the can down the road. We're going to print money to infinity. We're going to line the pockets of the corporations and our friends, and we're going to make people suffer, right? I mean, you have the appearance of prosperity with the access to resources, but at the same time, are you financially free? Are you? I don't feel like I'm financially free. I'm free. Don't get me wrong, but I still don't feel like I'm financially free.
Are
I'm
you
still
free?
Working 6-7 days a week or 5, to make ends meet. But that's of no fault of my own, because there's always a smarter way to work with the access of information. And like you said, it's imperative that when the information's there and the opportunities arise, you don't go to sleep and say, hey, I'll just see what happens. Because when you do that, you miss out on opportunities to not only change your life, but change the lives of the people around you and your community. You want your people to be prosperous as well, because this is our time to be prosperous, because we have the responsibility, however the information is presented to you or however you come across the information, you have a responsibility to be awake and say, oh, wow, that's opportunity that we could, that we can make money from, set ourselves up, set our kids, our family up, by taking advantage of it and, running with it instead of just sitting back and saying, let's see what happens. I don't believe they're going to do it. I really don't. Yeah, they're going to do it with or without you.
Or without you.
So you might as well be at the forefront. And so it's like, don't, just like when you get a cell phone, a lot of people are like, use your cell phone. Don't let your cell phone use you. I mean, simple way of putting it, the technology's there. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to utilize the technology, or is the technology using you? Are you going to own your identity, or is your identity owned by someone else? Are you going to loan your identity out to Facebook and where they don't pay you back? Or are you going to monetize it by creating your own .crypto or your own business where you can actually control your own identity? We talked about that previously. So, yeah, it's definitely important for us to take advantage of it. I think that's why we're here having these conversations, so we can just build and make that money. At the end of the day, money's not everything, but it'll definitely make life a lot easier for you.
It helps a lot.
If you're crying using tissue, I'd rather use $100 bill to dry my eyes.
I think Tyler Creator had a verse. He said something about I rented a boat. It was off of something. He said I rented a boat, or I own a boat, so I went and go cry in the ocean. Or something like that. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's very true.
Right.
I think on that note, I think we can wrap this thing up.
Awesome.
There's a lot of good information today, and I can't wait for, the next one especially. I think we're going to have another person join us on the team as well, too.
Awesome.
So everybody stay tuned for that. And again, I want to say thank you to Rain Incubator for allowing us to be in their studio to perform here today. And look forward to seeing you guys the next time around.
All right. Peace out.
We'll have a name by then, too.